You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981. Talkline Network Radio, America's longest-running Jewish broadcast network, the voice of the Jewish community.
And now your host.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Zev Brenner. I'm very pleased that Y. David Scharf, a chair and co-managing partner of Morrison Cohen LLP, joined us. He's a super lawyer, one of the country's leading trial and appellate lawyers, serves as a senior counsel to CEOs of multinational companies. He has more than 25 years of experience representing and advising clients in securities, mergers and acquisitions, complex commercial real estate transactions. He has many high-profile cases. He's also represented the president of the United States prior to Donald Trump becoming president. I know him from the Upper West Side. I've seen him at Ridniker and the Vorhan Shul, certainly a fixture on our community there as well. So, good luck. Thank you for joining us.
Be with you, Zev.
Thank you. So, I'm sure everybody asks the question, what was it like working for Donald Trump before he became president?
Well, he is like many people who just expect to win. They're demanding, they want your time, they want your attention, and they want results. I got a lot of training for the time that I represented him because very early on in my career I represented Leona Helmsley, and she called me very affectionately David Bubala, she called me, but she wanted outcomes, and for her it was for me to create a hotel internship program for inner-city kids that she was able to be part of her parole plan when she came out of jail. And I needed to create something that would be accepted by the New York Parole Board, that worked with her infrastructure, that worked with what she can contribute back to society. And I needed to get it done, and I needed to get approved. And that was a great experience working for her because it really set me up in terms of what the expectations are for people that are in the news and that you see in the bold print in magazines and newspapers.
So Leona Helmsley is the high-profile case. Donald Trump, I was trying to get what it was like working for him. I know one of his lawyers, he appointed David Friedman to be ambassador of Israel. Was there any consideration making you ambassador to Israel?
No, that was always David's passion and desire, and him and the president had talked about that for many years. I'd worked with David Friedman on a trial for Donald Trump in the years before he became president, and David Friedman was set up for that very, very well, and I think he did a great job. Working for Donald meant, as he wrote in his book about me, being up at 5 o'clock in the morning to take his phone calls, being available to come up to his office, developing strategy, and I think his passion to succeed and my passion to win matched us up very well. We always talked about the fact that when you're an aggrieved party, speak out, get in front of the issue, and we shared that. And for better or for worse, love him or hate him, it was always a situation where we knew people were not ambivalent about him, and I think that remained throughout his run-up to becoming president, throughout his presidency, and even to this day.
No question. He likes to win, and he's certainly a complicated individual. But have you had contact with him since he became president, or now that he left the presidency?
So yes, it was quite an interesting time, and I had been privileged to meet and spend time with Presidents 41 through 45, Bush 1, Clinton, Bush 2, Barack Obama, but knowing the President of the United States, as I did with President Trump, was a very completely different experience. Visiting the White House, being at events with him recognizing you among hundreds of people, him calling you by name, those are special experiences. It is not every day that a kid from New York knows the President of the United States, and the President of the United States knows him and calls him out and recognizes him for his achievements and knows his family, and those are special moments.
No, it certainly is, and I know that there was an appreciation that people in the Orthodox community, the West Side and other places, got together to have a lunch for the president to say thank you for supporting Israel, Hakaras Hatov, recognition of good. I believe you were involved with that as well, where there was an acknowledgement, and I think in the religious community, I think that resonated very strongly.
Well, in the early stages of the presidency, I received reach-outs for him not understanding why the people in the religious community, why people in the Jewish community at large weren't more passionate about him because he was passionate about issues that he thought were passionate for them. And yes, it was important to me that I expressed that to people, to let people know that it was important that to the president that he receive recognition and that they recognize him for the work that he was doing for their community. And I think he elicited a lot of passion among many different communities that he was reaching out to and trying to provide for better lives. And that showed in the turnout that he had for him during the during the run-up for 2020.
Right. I think in the Orthodox community, the numbers, according to Talmi magazine, I think was as high as about approximately 88% of the community supported him, which was a pretty high number. Didn't do as well in the general Jewish community, but in the Orthodox community, he did exceptionally well.
And he was looking at that, and I can tell you I was at a dinner for him at John Paulson's house with Stephen Schwartzman and Howard Lutnick, and I got pulled aside and to a Republican donor, and he asked me the following question: what is it that the president is going to look for at the end of the 2020 election? And I said it's the people who didn't vote for him. He's going to know who did vote for him and who didn't vote for him, and I'm sure he's quite he knows what's happening, and he's very focused on those that support him and those that don't.
Do you think he's going to run again in 2024?
I think there's a lot of time between now and 2024 before those decisions need to be made. I definitely think he is going to be a force to be reckoned with as a kingmaker as we head up to 2022. And then we'll see what the American public is up for. He's not going to put himself in a position where he's going to lose. He's going to look to position himself because he views himself and those around him want him to succeed, and he wants to win very passionately. And I think that's been something that I've known consistently since I started to represent him back in 2001.
We're speaking to Y. David Scharf, super attorney. We'll try to squeeze in some of your questions. You can call us at 212-769-1925. That's 212-769-1925. You can email is also a great way to have your questions answered, zevbrenner@gmail.com, zevbrenner@gmail.com. You also represented Carl Icahn and Eli Tahari, and in fact, I believe you're representing judges, appellate division judges.
Yes, I am. As a result of the budget crisis, many of the senior judges in New York, 46 of them for that matter, were told that they would not be able to continue service up to the age of 76, which was constitutionally permitted. And they retained me, the appellate division judges retained me to bring their case, and we won out in Suffolk County to set aside the decision that was made by the administrative board to not allow them to continue to serve. We had an argument at the 3rd Department up in Albany. It was done virtually, and we're heading to the Court of Appeals. The 3rd Department made a decision 3-2 to support the court system's right to not permit my clients to continue to serve. We got a beautiful dissent from 2 justices, and we're going to head up to the Court of Appeals to vindicate their rights, that they have a right to continue to serve the public in this state as they wish.
What's your biggest challenge being frum, being Orthodox, representing high-profile cases where, as you mentioned with Donald Trump, he wanted to call you 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm sure you're at call almost 24 hours a day.
Well, I think everyone learns very early on, and I'm not embarrassed to say it, I'm available 24/6. And, very early on, I remember I started working for Donald. It was on a Thursday, and it was during the summer, so there was plenty of time on Friday. But as the Friday started to get shorter, as the fall turned into winter, we had this thing where we talk in the morning, and he would ask me what time I would turn into a pumpkin, and I would tell him what time I would turn into a pumpkin. And usually on Saturday night, he was calling before I was coming home from shul, and he would say, "I don't understand. Where's David? It's dark outside. How come he's not available yet?" And I had to explain to him that Shabbos was really 25 and a half hours, and I needed a little extra time to get home from shul. But people learned that about me, and I've never had any problems with that. People are extremely respectful, and I think part of that comes with the fact that when Saturday night comes, I'm there, I'm available, I'll work whatever time, whatever day is necessary. But Shabbos is sacrosanct, and nobody has ever asked me to breach my religion for them, and I think that's just part of who I am, and I get that respect.
No, which is terrific. That's the opportunities to be from and to be out there. In fact, we had David Schoen the other week, who made it a point. He could have gone on Shabbos to testify, do things in a halachic way where wouldn't violate, but he wanted to make the point that he observed Shabbos, and I think that's so important that people are able to respect that. That's I think something essential, which is great. It's
a beautiful thing. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's a beautiful thing about and the beauty of this country, and we just need to cherish that, and we need to be careful and be vigilant so that the freedoms that we cherish and that are important to us don't come under attack, because it's happening in other countries and it's happening in areas in this country as well.
In all the years you've been around, what was your most interesting or complex case that you can share with our audience?
Well, through almost 30 years of doing this, obviously there are many cases, but I like to focus on what's on the here and now. And I think one of the most complex things I've had and that I have going on right now is I am representing the lender, the controlling note holder in a $1 billion securitization that is looking to foreclose on a portfolio of 46 Saks Fifth Avenues and Lord & Taylors around the country. So I am leading a team of lawyers around the country in Texas, in New York, in New Jersey, in Virginia, in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in California, in Texas, and I'm losing track if I'm going over other ones that I've covered already. And there are properties all over the place. There are different types of foreclosures that can happen in certain places. There are judicial and non-judicial foreclosures, and certain things need to be sequenced, and we need to be able to be prepared to auction off different properties. And running that and arranging that is definitely one of the most challenging things that I do. I'm on calls nearly every single day, developing strategies and making sure that the lawyers around the country are doing what needs to happen. It's a jigsaw puzzle, and that's challenging, but that's what I think I'm up for.
And doing a great job. So we appreciate your sharing some of what you're doing. Other room, we'll have to have you back for a more in-depth interview. But thank you for that. I know you're active in the Jewish community, whether it's the OU or Ezra Mitzion or various shuls in the Upper West Side of Manhattan. So I don't know when you find time for everything if you're operating 24/6, but I guess thank God for Shabbos.
It definitely is. I love to tell people all the time that if being able to do what I do inspires other people to take a day off, whether you're Jewish or you're not, I think everyone needs to unplug, to unwind, and to get a moment. And whether your day of rest is Shabbos on Saturday, or whether it's Friday, or whether it's Sunday, I think the world was set up in a particular way that requires us to unplug. And I'm respectful of others, and appreciate that others are respectful of me.
Good luck. Thank you. Aziz and Pesach, and we appreciate you joining us here on the Talkline Network.
My pleasure, Zev. It's always a pleasure to see you and a pleasure to talk to you.
Likewise. The great work. Super attorney David Scharf. Why David Scharf? He is chair and co-managing partner of Morrison Cohen. As you heard, very interesting clients, including the former president, Donald J. Trump.
Thanks for listening.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Talkline Radio and TV with Zev Brenner is just phenomenal. Everybody concerned about the Jewish community should listen and watch. He has the best guests. He asks the most interesting questions. He's always so well prepared. It's talk radio and television from a Jewish point of view at its very best.
To advertise on the Talkline network and Talkline's email and social media blasts reaching over 70,000 people, please call 212-769-1925, extension 100. That's 212-769-1925, extension 100. Or email info@talklinenetwork.com.
Talkline Network Radio, America's longest-running Jewish broadcast network.